Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the National Matters program. And we are so grateful that Jehovah has kept us alive this day. I must say that in the studio I have a wonderful gentleman who is a specialist, Mr. Victor Himbai. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thanks very much, Pastor, and welcome viewers to the program.
Amen. Now, dear Camnet TV viewers, as you may know, that Camnet TV is passionately following the call of our government that we partner together, Zambians with the government, that we contribute in solving some of the problems. We cannot eliminate all the problems, but we can, by and large, contribute to solving the problems. And so National Matters is about you and us coming together, reasoning and brainstorming, and see the way forward. For a long time, this nation has not believed in its potential, its capacity. When I say this nation, I'm talking about us as Zambians. We have been dependent on the government for a long time now. The government, you are the government, I'm the government, we are the government, but the administration of this government, their plates are full, their shoulders are heavy, carrying all these national affairs, budgeting, giving allocation to this and that. I believe that time has come for us to make a difference. We brought somebody here, Engineer Chwala, talking about fruits, avocado. We brought Dr. Achaka here, talking about fish, Mr. Salanda, about chickens, and we are still bringing these people. Now, one of the things, Mr. Himbai, I know you are going to introduce yourself to the nation. You must know that Zambia is a country that is just dependent on Nshima and Rep, Nshima and Dikapenta, Nshima, and we even know that our staple food is Nshima. But little do we know that fruits are very important in our lives. But before we go that way, who is Mr. Victor Himbai?
Thanks very much, Pastor. Mr. Victor Himbai is a horticulture specialist in the area of sciences for vegetable growing, flowers, and fruits. He is also a member, a trained and certified member of CropLife Africa, which is an affiliate for CropLife International, the organization which regulates the use of pesticides across the world. Yes, sir.
And you sit on the African body or something?
Trained to facilitate in Africa and Middle East.
Middle East
Yes.
and Africa?
Yes, please.
And as horticulturalist,
Yes,
tell me something. Your specialty is just in pesticide or just, what is it about?
So my specialty is in the actual crop production, production of vegetables, production of flower cultures, production of fruit, various assorted fruits in the country. Looking at the horticulture as a holistic subsector in Zambia, we are talking about the production of fruits which can supplement other sectors which are actually making our healthy nation. I'm saying so because in Zambia, my observation is that people eat fruits only when they are sick, when their relatives bring fruits in the hospital for them. So under normal circumstances, the fruits were supposed to be part of our daily menu, where you wake up in the morning, you have a fruit, you eat. But one of the challenges why these fruits have not been available is because the production side of it is low. Most of the fruit that we eat in this country are imported from countries like South Africa and the rest of the world. We are not producing them as a nation. Hence the need for us to go into the production of these fruits ourselves.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's fine. So hence the need to go into the production of these fruits so that, one, they can improve the health of our people, by eating them, and two, they can also improve the economy, because fruits have got the capacity and the potential to improve our economy, in the sense that they are one of the lucrative businesses, just like the other sectors of horticulture. I'll give an example. A farmer who has got 1 hectare growing maize, on average, the input cost will be probably about 7,000 kwacha to do a hectare of maize. This is where you are putting in the maize seed, you buy the fertilizers, you buy the herbicides and other chemicals. But at the end of the day, the yield that you are going to get there, when you sell it, on average, you might just make a turnover of between 9 and 10,000 kwacha
per hectare.
Per hectare, per year. Now, when you make such kind
that
of sales,
is the, you are talking about now 10,000 profit, or
no, that is a turnover.
Capital inclusive.
Yeah, that is a capital inclusive. So when you look at those figures, for me, the actual profit per year that you make is slightly below 3,000 kwacha, and that is not
per hectare.
Yes, per hectare. That is not sustainable enough. Now let's talk about a farmer who is growing fruits and vegetables. Today I'll be more biased to fruits. You have 1 hectare of has avocado trees, which has a total plant population of 400. One tree, when it is at full peak of production, will give you an average of 400 fruits. Meaning that in a hectare, you have 140,000 avocado fruits per year. And if you were to sell those fruits at an average price of 5 kwacha, how much is that money? We are talking of a lot of money. The same thing goes to if you grew some Atkan mangoes. One thing that shocks me that when it is mango season, between November up to January somewhere there, you see a lot of mangoes on the market, which flood the market, and these are our traditional mangoes. Then when it is off season, most of the mangoes that we eat are coming from Botswana, they are coming from South Africa, they are coming from other countries. These mangoes can be grown, and they are able to give you the same yield that they are getting out there. We can grow these mangoes in our country, Zambia. There are 3 ways of doing these fruit trees in Zambia. For example, how to have them propagated. The first thing that you do is you can propagate them from the seed, you can graft them, and also there's a new technology that has come which is called air rearing. In the air rearing, the tree that was supposed to give you the fruit between 8 and 15 years can give you the fruit between 6 and 12 months. So that's another technology which has come on board, which is an improved one, where you can produce these fruit trees and then go on the market quicker than doing them in a traditional way. And then you are able to access these monies. A good example, someone who is growing the mangoes, Atkan mangoes, you are able to, if you planted them for a good space of, say, 3 by 4 meters, you are able to have 1,111 mangoes per hectare. Each mango will be giving you an average of 250 fruits. You can see the money that we are talking about. That is a lot of things that can be done. In short, 1 hectare of fruit trees at production is able to give you between 1 million and 1.6 million per year. And that is not small money, because no farming activities which will give you that money. Otherwise, this is the most lucrative sector.
And you don't need the fertilizer to grow mangoes.
Yes.
You don't, like, every day you weed out you don't need that.
Yes. These trees, the level of management is quite minimal. Like, for example, myself and my team, we have a scientific way of making our own organic fertilizer. Right now, we have fertilizer which has been manufactured at 15 miles of Kabwe Road. This fertilizer is made from cow manure, chicken manure, some organic matter, and other microbial properties that we add to that fertilizer. So we are able to grow these mango trees without adding any other fertilizer, any synthetic fertilizer bought from the shop. So the cost of producing these trees we are talking about is very minimal, because our fertilizers do everything that the plant needs to benefit from.
CAMNET TV viewers, those of you that are with us, we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube. Invite your friends, because this is getting better. And those of you that are in Kitwe, we are coming to Kitwe. Mr. Ambai is one of the speakers. On the 9th of October, we are in Kitwe. I want to ask my director to play you this advert for Kitwe. Don't leave anything to chance. Mind you that if you miss this time for you to come and receive the knowledge, the people that attended the Lusaka conference, afterwards they just said, even if you had priced this at 3,000 kwacha per ticket, they would have still have attended. And now many more are looking forward for us to have the conference again in Lusaka. These are practical men. They are telling you things that will bring money in this economy. I'll ask Mr. Director to play us our advert for Kitwe. Afterwards, we'll pick it up.
Join us on the 9th of October 2020
for the National Matters Conference in Kitwe. Venue: Living Water Global Church in Wusakile, opposite Wusakile Police Station. Time: 08 hours to 17 hours. Theme: Unlocking Zambia's potential through raising a generation of generational thinkers. Charges: 510 kwacha, lunch inclusive. Speakers will be Dr. Collins Kachaka.
If you have a 3 liters per second, then we say in science that you qualify to get involved in fish farming because you have adequate water.
Dr. Mushalika.
Don't overlisten to people who are happy to see you poor. They don't mean any good for us. There are no people who are developed by others. All people develop themselves.
Dr. Prosper Sievo, Engineer Bernard Chuala.
You are welcome so that we can create a critical mass of participants in the avocado industry. 1 hectare in 12 months will give you no less than 1 million kwacha. Hello?
Mr. Himbai.
You planted a deep-rooted plant into a shallow-rooted, so where is it getting the nutrients? Nowhere. So that plant, it will not give you the potency. You have failed at land preparation.
Mr. Salanda.
All of them lay eggs. You can use them for eggs and also for meat. They lay at least in a year a minimum of, to the lowest, a minimum of 100 chickens each.
All the dyes, all the paints, all the lubricants, they come from a plant called castor. 34% of our medicinal elements, they come from a castor root.
Not forgetting your host, Pastor Victoria and Moses Chiduba.
Mwebantu mwishitisha land. Mwebantu mwishitisha land. Nami babati. It is unthinkable.
Take note, limited numbers due to COVID-19 restrictions. Make your payments through Airtel Mobile Money on 0979 75 3010 or on MTN Mobile Money on 0962 38 2535 or 0962 96 5883.
It's really been impacting on so many levels.
This was really powerful, and I'm glad I didn't miss this one.
This conference has been wonderful in the sense that the knowledge that we've acquired within a day is so much overwhelming.
Should this conference come to Western Province, I urge them all to come en masse.
I didn't know that there's potential in me and wealth was lying right where I was.
The way to go right now is agriculture.
The knowledge that we have gathered out of this meeting is immeasurable.
Hurry, don't miss this life-changing conference.
Wow, this will be an opportunity of your lifetime. I can assure you, Mr. Himbai, just before I came to the studio, what you are saying, it is amazing. I was with two Egyptian professors. One will be flying out of this country. The other one is with us, and it is amazing how much money is in mangoes. I didn't even realize, like you said, Mr. Director, please show me, show the people, or prepare to show these photos. Amazing enough, Mr. Imbai, you are in this field. It was the first time that I saw a small tree containing over 200 fruits. And these are the mangoes that we import from South Africa. I asked this gentleman, the professor, I said, is it justifiable for us to be importing mangoes, grapes from South Africa? He said, Pastor, absolutely not. Zambia has one of the best climates in the world. Do you agree with that?
100%, absolutely, Pastor. I agree. Zambia, as a country, we are blessed. In the previous discussion that we had, I mentioned that this country is one of the countries which is rich in natural resources. Zambia has 127 billion cubic, which translates into 40% of the total water in SADC countries. 127 billion cubic. Billions, I mean. So when we look at such kind of resources that we have, also the kind of the soil that we have, the weather pattern is very predictable. You know when it is winter, you know when it is rainy season, the temperatures are predictable, you know when it is hot and when it is cold. With such kind of an environment, then we are placed in a very, very conducive climate to grow our own fruits, and we can grow all kinds of fruits in this country.
My goodness. Mr. Director, show our viewers one by one. Let me make a comment. I just did this I was just coming from there. This is one of the professors from Egypt, and you can see that this tree is an Egyptian mango. He says, look at this small mango, producing those big mangoes. One tree can hold up to 300, he says.
Yeah.
300, and it's very small that even a young boy can pick from there. There are the fruits. I was just looking at this. Look at this irrigation system they've put. It is the cheapest. This is Professor Red. And I can tell you, these people have believed, like we have believed, that we can turn this nation around. Now, thank you, Mr. Director. Thank you, Mr. Director. Now, those mangoes, like you said, you rightly said, I want to say to the members of this channel, the Camnet TV viewers, I was so shocked, Mr. Imbai, that you said that one tree, 3 by 3 gives us what?
So the 3 by 3...
It's 10,000 square meters, eh?
Yes, 10,000 square meters divided by 9.
Divided by 9.
Then it gives us a total plant population of 1,111.
11, yes.
Yes. Then from there, each tree is able to give us 350 fruits per year.
300, that is times 350.
Yes.
Fruits, which gives us 388,000.
Yes.
Fruits. And this man was saying that those mangoes go for about 20 kwacha, the big ones from South Africa.
6 kwacha.
That is wholesale, isn't
yes,
it?
Yes, yes.
But when you are selling retail,
yeah,
they go about 12 kwacha, 15 kwacha.
12 kwacha, 15 kwacha, yes.
Those big man.
Yes.
Okay, let's go by 6 kwacha times 6 kwacha. It's able to give you 2.3 million. This is per hectare.
This is per hectare per year.
Per year?
Yes.
It gives you 2.3
yes.
million.
Yes, Pastor.
And if you have people from Kacholora, if you have, say, 50 hectares, this gives you 116 million.
Per year, that's exactly.
116 million kwacha per year on 50 hectares.
Yes.
Oh, Jehovah. Why are we taking this life so easily as Zambians, Mr. Himbai?
Yeah, I think maybe what I should say is that first of all, we have a starting point. We have seen the opportunities that need to be exploited relentlessly without resting. Apart from that, I should say that it's a high time we started changing the mindset in what we do, because you will find that one of the reasons why people are not going into a project like this, they are not willing to wait. They think 3 years or 12 months for an air-ready plant is a long period of time. And this is in every sector of horticulture. People want to do something that brings in quick money without waiting for something that has high returns and a long-term project. It's a high time we changed our mindsets. In terms of what we have not done properly, I should say, even as a country, maybe we have also not integrated very well in terms of the horticulture. I've said so because in most cases, when we talk about horticulture, agriculture in Zambia, we are talking about maize production, we are talking about soybeans production, groundnut. These are a few predominant crops that are coming out. But I want to say that horticulture, like fruit production, is one of the sectors that should be integrated very well. And I think this, if we look at it from the point of agriculture, the Ministry of Agriculture has a very pivotal role to play in this. We need to come out of fragmented and go into what we call segmentation, so that once we have come out of segmentation, we can now go into what we call aggregation. It is painful to know that there are a number of people who are trying this sector, but we don't have their names, we don't have their location.
Who are trained?
Who are actually doing these activities for horticulture. I was one time visiting a certain farm in Monze. I think it is called Kabalamonga. It's a group of farmers. They have got 3 hectares of assorted fruit trees. They have got oranges, they have got nutties, they have got lemons. But the time I went to visit, I found that their trees were drying up. I asked them, what is the problem? Why are your trees drying up? They told me, we have one communal borehole and we are ferrying water 200 meters away on our buckets to feed these trees. And they have got over 600 fruit trees. Therefore, the supply has been only during the rain season. When the rains come, give the water to their plants, and then they are able to sell just a quarter of what they should have sold if they were doing the irrigation. What do such groups need? They just need a solar pump. They just need the borehole, which can sustain that. And then from there, we can be seeing tons and tons of orange trees coming from Monze. And these trees, these fruits that can come there, they will actually they will be equivalent to what we are importing from South Africa.
Oh, really?
Yes, Pastor.
Just from 3 hectares?
Just from 3 hectares. Look at the estimate that we are talking about. Let's assume 350. For orange tree, we are talking of about 500 fruits per tree times 300 fruits. How much fruit are you going to have on the market? How much money can you make? How much savings can you make on the foreign exchange? Why should we be using our foreign exchange to buy things which are useless? I call them useless because they can be grown here. We can save that foreign exchange and reserve it for more important things. These ones can be grown and then we can keep our foreign exchange.
But I believe that, as the government, I think, it's not involved in importing of these fruits because that's not their area.
Yes.
And it is people with businesses.
Yes.
Like you have a shop, I have a shop, we are importing fruits from South Africa.
Yes.
But all the same, the money is coming from our economy to go and import fruits which can be grown here.
Yes.
I want to look into this camera and advise the government, especially our Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Katambo, to start looking at ways of encouraging local output so that in 5 years from now, we can stop importing fruits. If we do that, we are going to grow the base for our local market, and there will be enough. This professor, as you said, Mr. Imbai, the professor was saying maximum for this tree, for somebody to wait, it's just 3 years.
Yes.
2 years, you start picking fruits. But 3 years of waiting, meaning if we start planting, this is 2020, in 2023, somebody will be pocketing 116 million kwacha on 50 hectares.
Yes, yes.
What if you just go and say, I want to be the host in Chilala of, Mr. Chilala was growing maize, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, you say, I want to be the biggest mango producer in Zambia. And not only that, Mr. Imbai, if we have more farmers growing this, can't we have a plant for mango juice?
We can. Absolutely, we can. Once we are able to do what we call the aggregation, in the aggregation, our role is to identify all the key players into this sector. This includes the farmers themselves, who are to be contracted to go into what we call an outgrower scheme. Crops like fruits, which have got already market, you are supposed to grow them continuously. You grow them as an outgrower scheme. Then we talk about the people who supply the local input for the production. We talk about the transporters. These are the people who are going to be affected positively in this subsector if this is put in place. Because right now what is happening is that the farmer who is based in South Africa is growing. We have created the jobs for the South African farmers. Apart from the farmer in South Africa, also the transporter who is bringing this produce into Zambia, the transport sector there has benefited. Apart from that, when the produce come here, then the only people who benefit here in Zambia is the traders. And these traders, their benefits are to act as distributors, so they are just part of the chain. The consumer does not benefit because the cost of the value chain are very high. So the cost of fruits in Zambia are very high, simply because they are produced outside there, and then bringing them into the country becomes a serious problem. Mobility of those commodities to the end user has become a serious problem. So we can cut down on that cost by producing them locally, distributing them locally using our own value chain system. And that value chain system, when it is at power working, what will happen is that the accessibility of the fruits by the local people will be higher, because the cost of buying a fruit at the market will be low. Then it means everyone who has 2 coins or 3 coins will be able to buy the fruit and then eat them. It has a multiplier effect in the sense that once we have done that, the farmers will benefit. The local transporters will be doing the mopping and the mobilization of these fruits into the market for sale will also benefit. The other person to benefit is the consumer, because the accessibility will be made available, and then the cost of buying will be less.
I didn't ask the professor, but last time we were there with my wife, I saw that he had just transplanted the trees. He was planting the other trees, turning them into something, and he said, this Pastor Chilua, by the time you come, and that was early this year,
yes,
they've begun flowering.
Yes.
And he was saying, Pastor, there is nothing too expensive to this. All you need is a plant.
Yes.
You have a plant, and then you have mango trees, and those mango trees, if we can, like you are saying, if we can have 100 farmers in Lusaka growing mangoes,
yes,
100 in Chipata, 100 in my village Shinsali, 100 in Mongo, and this can grow anywhere, isn't it?
Yes, they can grow anywhere.
And if we have that, I was thinking to myself and calculating that there is no way we can be looking for money, number one.
Yes.
Number two, the health span of our people, our health,
yes,
will go up. Because somebody said, take 1 apple per day, you improve your health. Take 1 banana per day, we need all these fruits.
Yes, yes. Actually, correct, Pastor. This country, there is not even a single person who is going to bring financial freedom to us. Financial freedom will come to us because a human being was created as a working being. there is no wealth, no resources will come for a person who is sleeping in bed and expect money to come. If ever there will be a politician in this world who is going to promise that just lay on your bed, tomorrow you wake up, you have money, that story will not be true, because a human being generated resources, and that's the reason why he was created. Man was created to tender the ground. That was the first instruction given to God himself in the Garden of Eden. So if we are to achieve that, it should be our role as citizens of this country to take a proactive role and work and act on these opportunities that have been availed to us. These opportunities are there to transform us. A few who are going to take these initiatives, you will see them becoming millionaires all of a sudden. And then, you know, it's a tendency in Zambia. There is this poor syndrome that comes to us where when someone takes this fruit production in horticulture sector, immediately they start making money, they will start being given names. No, they went to this country, their years are counted, things and like. But yet these opportunities have been made available to each and everyone to see. We have given you the figures. Plant 1 hectare of Hass avocado trees, which has 400 plants. In a year, you'll be making about a million. You'll be making about 1 million kwacha, and that money is enough. Let's assume we worked around there for 10 years. How many millions are you going to make? Who makes that money from their salaries, and who makes that money from their pension? All that money, you can make it in your backyard garden. I've conducted an average survey here in Zambia, and I've seen that most of people, including the person in the typical village, has an average land of about 3 hectares. Now, 1 hectare can be allocated for staple food production, which is maize, which we cannot run away from there. Then you integrate your long-term project like fruit trees with the cash cow, which is the regular vegetables. From the regular vegetables you are eating, and you are also selling for you to sustain yourself during the time you are waiting for the next 2 to 3 years. After that, the money that you have invested in that waiting period, it will cushion everything and pay you in arrears for everything that you have done.
You know, CamNet TV viewers, I am so grateful to the Lord that my wife and I just decided to take this route and let somebody there who has ears. The Bible says, let him who has ears to hear, let him hear. You know, one reason why I went to Lusaka West,
yes, Pastor.
Mr. Imbai, I went looking for land.
Oh, yeah.
I went looking for land as a pastor. I am saying there is no way we can fail to finish a church like this one. There is no way any Zambian out there can fail to send their children to Oxford University,
Imagine.
to send them to Australia, to go and get the knowledge. And the reason why some people are out there in America and these other countries, it's not that they are getting good money. It's not that they are getting good money. Some of them are doing 3 jobs, 4 jobs,
yes,
and their families have disintegrated because they work like donkeys.
Yes.
But here we are. CamNet TV viewers, please hear me. Just 1 hectare of mango giving you 2.3 million kwacha per year after 3 years, just like avocado.
Yes, yes.
After 3 years, you have avocado here, you have mangoes here, and you have, Mr. Director, show me that clip for the photo for the grapes, where the professor was showing me the flower. The other one, this is for the irrigation, but there is one here. Have you seen this, Mr. Imbai?
Yes, yes, yes.
He was showing me these fruits. It's flowering right there.
Yes.
He said, Pastor, these kind of grapes, they are seedless.
Yes.
You won't find them in South Africa. You won't find them here anywhere. But in Zambia, he has started growing those.
Yes.
And those are expensive, very nice, and very juicy. And he says, these are millions of dollars, Pastor, you are dealing with.
Yes.
Now, these things are plants. And I noticed that actually once you plant them, you don't go watering like we do for these tomatoes and what?
Yeah, absolutely.
My goodness.
Yeah, so the cost of production definitely is very low. Probably the initial cost when you are starting the project may be moderately, but as you go on, the cost of production reduces. And also the biggest advantage is that the attention that is given to these fruit trees is minimal. Because naturally they are trees. I mean, we don't tender the trees out there in the bush. So even these trees, they have got a certain natural potency which will keep them in motion even when you give them less attention. All they need is a minimal moisture, some minimal nutrient, and some of the plants that I've seen grown in Zambia, you don't even fertilize them because they are benefiting from what we call the microbial properties. These are nutrients that exist in nature, and you are able to harvest. So what you do is just supplementary. You are just complementing nature, and then you keep them for high yield. Otherwise, this sector is something that can move our economy.
Mr. Imbai, I would like you to talk about vegetables. During the conference, you really scared me about the chemicals that people use and also the difference between rape and cabbage. And let's leave these fruits temporarily. We'll come to it because we've just talked about mango and we've talked about grapes. But there are more fruits actually that are that have high returns in terms of money and less supervision.
Yes.
You talked about vegetables. You know, my mother, sorry to say this, I went to Bible college because she was a marketeer selling rape. And also my brother Vashchewe, I'm very grateful, forever grateful to my brother Vashchewe, and also my mother. She's going to be with the Lord. From the market, she was selling rape.
Yes.
Limo, yabola, vaptaula, toambo kulia, and what. But there is no high income in rape. Why is it so? And the people like it.
Yeah, so actually I agree with what you are saying, Pastor, and I'm just making some affirmation on it that the vegetable sector in Zambia is categorized into 3 major segments. As an 18 years horticultural practicing farmer and facilitator for that matter, I discovered that if you are to go into vegetable growing in Zambia, you should understand that the market that you are going into are dynamics, and there are 3 segments. Most of the vegetables, like you have mentioned, Pastor, the rape, the Chinese cabbage, and a few more in that category, they are called conventional vegetables. Now, these conventional vegetables, usually, they are of less value. And the reason why they are of less value is because they are easy to grow. So it's every Jim and Jackie who grows them on the market. So what happens is because of their nature, because they are easy to grow, each time they are available on the market, they become overabundance, such that now the law of supply and demand is at play. So as a result, the producers don't make money because the markets are flooded. So as a result, you see that the people who have been growing rape and these other conventional vegetables, they may have grown old and they have failed to buy even a mere bicycle from that, simply because of the law of supply and demand, by virtue of them being not difficult to grow. Now, I talked about the other segment the other time. I said the other segment which is on the market now, there's some kind of shift by the by people. The mindset is changing now from the conventional vegetables to what we call traditional vegetables. Now,
before you go to traditional,
yes, Pastor.
Just on the rape, you know, when you started talking about rape,
yes,
Engineer Chwara leaned towards me and he said, you know, this vegetable is a poor man's vegetable. It can't make you rich.
Yes.
And even in terms of digestion, it's not good.
Yes, that is true. Like I said in my preamble when I was starting to talk, I said the mindset changing is very important here. Let's look at rape first. Rape, when you plant it, it takes about 7 days to germinate into the nursery. From the nursery, you have another 3 weeks to 1 month for it to be ready to be transplanted into the main field. Then from the time you transplant into the main field, you are counting exactly 6 weeks. You are already on the market, taking bunches and bunches of the rape to the market. And you harvest rape for between 3 and 4 months, depending on how you are managing it, how you are controlling the diseases, how you are taking care of the nutrition part of it, and also how you are managing the pests. So now, such kind of a crop, every person who wants to go into garden, they are looking at when are they going to go into the market. They are not looking at the value that will come from there. So as a result, they will plant rape. Now, there is a copy and paste kind of arrangement in Zambia. When I grow rape and you are my neighbor, you find me planting rape, you are going to follow as well. You plant rape. So as a result, the number of people who have grown that rape at the same time will be many. Now, this is a poor man's crop for sure, because a 50 kg of rape, there are times when it sells for less than 50 kwacha. So when you take to the market, for example, you have taken 20 bags of rape, how much money are you going to make? You are going to make 1,000 kwacha. Now, that rape where you have made 1,000 kwacha will drink the same amount of water, you'll be regretting it. You are going to apply the nutrient there. You are going to, the pest will come, which will attack rape, the same pest which could have attacked a high value crop. The pesticide that you are going to use there will be the same. So now the cost of production is high. But what have you gotten in terms of returns? Nothing. So it is indeed a poor man's plant. Yes, it is a poor man's crop. So for me, I would say the conventional vegetables do not give you money because they are not, they have no value, they have less value on the market.
And how true is it that this same rape we are talking about, most is food for horses?
Yes, it is very true. I've visited farms where we have grown rape and other conventional vegetables specifically to feed the goats, because the owner of the farm doesn't have the grazing land. So the vegetables will be grown and then it will be used to feed the goat. The value is in the secondary product, which is a goat, which is going to sell at Kasumbalesa border for 500 kwacha. But in the vegetable itself, there is no value.
Oh. The second category from
So the second category, I was talking about the traditional vegetables. When we were growing up, we were introduced to those traditional vegetables which we were eating. But when the conventional vegetables came on board, we changed. We shifted our mindset and went to these conventional vegetables. But what is happening now is that there is a very big demand for traditional vegetables, and they have created, there's a demand that has been created naturally, where the person who is growing in traditional vegetables is making more money than the one who is growing conventional vegetables. I'll give you a very good example. You grow rape, you take a bag of rape to Soweto market, and you are going to sell it at 50 kwacha. The other person will take the same bag, which is 50 kg of chihuahua, is going to sell it for close to 500 kwacha or 300 kwacha. So the demand for traditional vegetables has gone up in our country, and this is because of the consumption pattern that is changing in our people, the mindset. People think if they eat traditional vegetables, they are eating healthy foods. That's one of the thoughts that is there. But again, there's no guarantee in that when you eat the traditional vegetables, you are eating healthy food. What really matters is how were they grown. Yeah, because some of these vegetables that have been grown using the pesticides, we kill our pests using pesticide, insecticide, fungicide, all kind of chemicals that we use. You find that you eat the traditional vegetable like chihuahua today, and the person who grew that vegetable did not observe what we call the waiting period or the pre-harvest interval. You have eaten a toxified food even when it is a traditional, just as you would have eaten it in a conventional vegetable. So it's not about the type, but it's about how they are grown. The chemicals that we eat, they have got a waiting period in which you have to wait, because there is what we call toxicity in nature. Now, toxicity is another word meaning poisoning. So we get poisoned at 2 stages. One stage is when you go into what we call acute poisoning, because you have eaten vegetables which have been sprayed with a pesticide or something, some toxic substance were applied on it, and then someone did not observe the waiting period. And there is also a toxicity through what we call the residue. The residue is the remaining part of poison in what you eat, which is called the terminal or chronic poisoning through the food that we eat. And I've mentioned this because the vegetable sector is the one which uses more chemicals than even the grain that we use in the field.
Really?
You know, you can grow maize sometimes you may not spray the whole field, you only apply fertilizers and herbicides. But in terms of supplying with the insecticides, fungicide, you may not do that. But vegetables, their spraying is very heavy because you talk about weekly or 10 days spray regime. All what you are putting there are chemicals. And those chemicals, when they are not managed very well, then they result into toxicity. This is the situation where you find people going to terminal poisoning, where people ruptures into cancers, tumors, which you cannot trace where they came from. It is actually from this food that we eat. So I think that's the kind of knowledge that as a nation we need to understand. And the people who are going to go into horticulture, especially those who are going to work into this horticulture sector where we are talking about fruit production, they will be monitored by us to make sure that what they are producing is safe for human consumption, it is safe for environment, and also themselves are safe, because these chemicals do not choose. They can kill the user, the one who is applying them, they can kill the consumer, and they can also destroy the environment. They can kill the aquatic life, they can actually damage everything, including the environment. And that is where we are saying we are at a high speed to make sure the production is stepped up, but we are also going to take precaution to ensure that our country is healthy and is eating healthy foods which are protected from toxicity. Yes.
So now you are saying because of these chemicals, could it be that these are some of the results of the cancers that are rampant in people?
Yes, Pastor, and this is not, it's not a secret. Like I said, I'm a certified chemical handler, pesticide handler. In most of the chemicals which we buy and use right now, when you go and buy a pesticide from an agro shop, it has got what we call the label information. One of the information that will come on the label, they will talk about the toxicity level in it. Now, of late, I have seen that most of the chemicals that are coming in the country, which we are using for horticulture purposes, they are carcinogenic. That simply means that they have got agencies which, if you are exposed to them, they will cause cancer in you. Those chemicals are there on the market.
Here in Zambia?
Here in Zambia. Thank God they have put a label on them. They will tell you this chemical can cause cancer. How do you tell? There's a sign on the label which I will show you. A human head with a chest and some stars. That simply means this chemical is carcinogenic. Any exposure to this chemical, whether you, the person who is applying it, or the consumer, or any other uninformed animal, they will get the cancer. That is what that symbol means. So indeed, when they are mismanaged, they cause cancer. That's why we are calling for serious awareness. The people should really follow what is stipulated in the label of that chemical, because the cancers are manufactured, especially in the agriculture sector, for people who abuse those pesticides.
This is serious. But why do you import such chemicals then, Mr. Imbai? Why do you apply them on the chemicals when you know we are going to eat innocently, like me? Before I knew that rape was food for horses, I like that stuff. Now, if you are going to apply those chemicals, why don't you warn the market or the people, especially those who harvest them? Because you talked about the period of harvesting. You have to wait for the chemical to
expire.
Expire what?
That's a very good question, Pastor. The assumption, which I think on earth should be the correct thing to do, those pesticides, they may be carcinogenic, but their effect on the human body is when they are abused, for lack of better terms. Abuse comes in, like, for example, I will spray a chemical which is carcinogenic in my vegetables, my fruit trees, and then I'll be told this chemical has a pre-harvest interval, which is a waiting period. The period at which from the application to the time it will be safe for consumption is 7 days. Then I go to the market, I find that the crate of tomato is selling for 300 kwacha at that particular time. Because I'm greedy, I abuse that chemical and harvest it and take the crop to the market.
Before 7 days?
Before 7 days. So what will happen is, because this chemical has moved, let's assume it is on the 4th day of that chemical, it will not take the target into into what we call acute poisoning. Because acute poisoning is where people have been poisoned and you are able to see the symptoms, you rush them to the hospital and then they detect the poison in them. But the chemical has lost the power. Now it is going into what we call chronic poisoning. The people who are going to consume that product will not show any symptoms, any sign whatsoever, but you only meet them at the cancer clinic.
Really?
Yes.
Now, you cause me to stop eating these things, Mr. Imbai. But knowledge is power.
Yes,
and
knowledge is power.
How do we then, as individuals, I am not there where the farmer is growing them, spreading these chemicals. I am not there.
Yes.
How can you tell? Can you tell that this fruit or these vegetables have got chemicals?
No, you can't tell. You cannot tell because the vegetables, as a matter of fact, we teach the farmers one of the culture practices, which is post-harvest handling. When you harvest the vegetables, they are supposed to be washed. That is another way of preserving them. So the chemicals that we use...
Who washes them?
The farmer themselves.
The farmer?
Yeah, the farmer will wash them. Some of them, they are brought and washed, but the trader themselves at the market will wash them. So
and if they don't wash them, as it is the case?
As if they don't wash them, some of the vegetables, you will see the sign of the chemicals on them. But because these chemicals, when you spray, the residue, the remaining part of the chemical, the media, will remain there. They will tell you, okay, yes, these vegetables were sprayed, but it was way back before it expired. They will tell you it fell into what we call the pre-harvest interval. So it expired. So those are some of the challenges that are there in the horticulture sector. It calls for ethics. That's why I'm saying my main emphasis, let the people, the farmers, be informed, be trained, be taught that it is highly risky for them to abuse the pesticide because the consumers become vulnerable. You cannot control what you buy from the market. The assumption is that this person is growing, follow the right procedures, but if there was deception at that stage, then the consumers are at risk.
This brings me to something, Mr. Imbai, then. Like we've been emphasizing on CAMNET TV, then it is imperative that every Zambian must have a piece of land to grow their own vegetables and eat, because you regulate. When I have even 5 acres of that vegetable, you are there to come and help me. Pastor, don't spray this, don't, you teach me, you give me knowledge. By so doing, I'm prolonging my life and the life of my children. I can assure you, Mr. Imbai, before you spoke in that conference, and even now, like what you have told me here, what you are saying to the nation, I didn't know. Most of us just go to the supermarket, to the market, just buy vegetables because they are cheap. You don't even know when they last applied the chemicals. And some probably they spray them like today. Tomorrow they are harvesting them.
So that's why, indeed, that is true, Pastor. The issue of sensitization and awareness become very critical. And also, I think where we come from, the camp extension officer, the government, through the Ministry of Agriculture, should take an active part in this. Farmers need to be taught the dangers of these pesticides if they are abused. That one is very important. It's supposed to go down to the producer, because when you are telling a person who doesn't know what cancer is, how cancer comes in, you tell him, if you abuse these chemicals, the people who are going to eat it will suffer from cancer. I think the effect there is very minimal. They need to be sensitized that these pesticides that you are using, you should follow religiously, you should follow what is stipulated on them and the dangers being brought forward to them. That's the part where we are saying, if we are to go into fruit production, it is very, very important that farmers are taught safety precautions are very, very critical, because they don't only affect the farmer, they affect the farmer, they affect the consumer, and also even the environment. These chemicals I'm talking about, they come with a label which is saying danger to environment or to aquatic life. Now, what that label does say, for me as a chemical man, when I see the label, it tells me that if this chemical that I'm applying in this soil had infiltrated into my fish pond, it will kill all the fish. But it will not only kill fish, it will kill the other amphibian life, the aquatic life. All the frogs there will die. So that is the danger which is there. We are supposed to be custodian and stewards of environment. So the agriculture sector, which is supposed to produce food, should not actually harm other lives. That is the point that I'm trying to bring forward.
My goodness. You've talked about conventional, you've talked about traditional. What is the third dimension?
Yeah, so the third category of the vegetables, especially here in Zambia, for our viewers, those who want to make money quickly, you go to what we call exotic or high-value vegetables. This segment of vegetables, even when you go to the supermarket, to the shops, it's logical, you see them. You find that this vegetable is costing so much. Any vegetable that you are going to find that it has got a high value on the market, that is an exotic vegetable. That is their nature, and they are actually defined by their names. That is another category of vegetables. So when you grow conventional vegetables, you should be looking at the traditional vegetables, and also you should be looking at the exotic vegetables, because it is from the exotic vegetables where you are going to get your money, to make your money. Let me give you an example. The person who grows rape cannot get the same money with a person who grows cauliflower. The space that cauliflower will occupy and the same as the space rape will occupy will be the same. But what will differ is the value that will come out from the sales when you are selling. Rape, you harvest 5 leaves today, you make it from the other plant. When you go to sell to the market, it will give you 1 kwacha. 1 head of cauliflower, it will be sold at between 12 and 15 kwacha per kg. A sizable cauliflower will sell for weigh about 1.5 kgs, meaning that from 1 head of cauliflower you have made between 15 and 20 kwacha, the same place where rape was sitting, and it gave you 2 kwacha. So those are high-value vegetables. This is how the high-value vegetables will give you value. Yes, Pastor.
My goodness. Cauliflower and
broccoli, those sweet carrot peppers, red and yellow peppers on the market. Talk about the herbs. The number of herbs. When you go to places, there was a time I was looking for a herb called parsley. I wanted it for medicinal purposes. I went from one supermarket to another. The place where I got it, I paid for 1 branch of leaf 9 kwacha. And those ones can be grown in Zambia. Talk about herbs. For those of you who are going into horticulture and you want to take this industry seriously and you want to make money, go for exotic vegetables. A person who plants garlic today will have to wait for 6 months. A person who plants ginger today will wait for 8 to 7 to 8 months. A person who plants turmeric today will wait for 7 to 8 months. But at harvest, you are going to get about 18.5 metric tons, which when you sell, according to my calculation, it will give you about 1.8 million kwacha, which you cannot make per hectare. Even if you grew the hectare of cabbage, the hectare of rape for 20 years, I can challenge you, you can't make that money. So the time you think of going into exotic vegetables, the high value vegetables, then you are close to becoming a millionaire. I'm not talking about a millionaire in kwacha, I'm talking about a millionaire in US dollars.
Really?
Yes.
And that would take less than 3 years?
Yes, because if a hectare can give you 1.8 million of that herb, which you grew in a year, what happens when you're growing it for 5 years? What happens when you double and triple the hectarage? Because these vegetables that I'm talking about, according to my own market research, there is no one who meets the demand.
Really?
Yes, the markets are plenty. You grow them, you won't meet the demand.
Even here in Zambia?
Some of the garlic that we consume here in Zambia comes all the way from Mozambique. Traders bring garlic and ginger from Mozambique because the local supply does not meet the demand. For those ones, of course, we can excuse the import. It is our fault because we have not produced them enough. My only stake, my only complaint that I will give, and I'll continue talking about this, is when I see a 30 tons truck bringing onion at Soweto market. That one, definitely for policymakers, I'm saying that thing should come to an end. Because onion can be grown in Zambia. We have a lot of farmers who are growing onion. So we don't want vegetables, these conventional vegetables, to be brought in Zambia, being produced in South Africa or any other country. These ones, they are taking advantage of our market. We want these ones to remain purely and exclusively for Zambians, so that when we grow them and put them on the market, then we should benefit our own market. We should benefit our own market. Not only that, the government is going to save that foreign exchange which is going into exporting onion into Zambia, will be saved for other serious things, because these ones we can grow them in Zambia.
Because even tomato paste.
Yeah, even tomato paste. Tomato, farmers in Zambia are able to grow any kind of tomato. It's a high time an audit should be done by the government to see what goes into the feedstock of these people who are processing tomato in Zambia. I've said so because some of them, years back, I don't know if the trend is still the same. I don't have the access now to that information because I don't have the access, so to say. But years back, not more than 3 years ago, 7,500 metric tons were coming all the way from China. It comes here as tomato puree, goes into the processing plants of certain companies, and then packaged in Zambia and branded truly Zambian with a Zambian flag. To me, that is nonsense.
Sure.
The Zambian farmer who was supposed to supply to that market is deprived of the market, and then we are creating employment to a Chinese farmer, and this has got to move all the way from there to come here. And these producers, when they are coming into Zambia, what guarantee do we have that the same thing of toxicity that I was talking about is not there? Because do we expose them to the lab test to make sure that what comes in here is toxic free? Those are things that we are supposed to look at. We can regulate our own production. We set standards and say, look guys, if you are going to go into tomato processing, you are going to go into chili processing for our own processing here in Zambia. Here are the standards. And we put the measures, the bottlenecks for monitoring to ensure that whatever goes there is safe for human consumption. And then as that is happening, the farmers will be motivated to grow more because they have got a red market. And as they are motivated to go into production because there is red market, then we are going to go full-fledged. The excess of the produce that we produce here is going to be exported outside the country, and then we are going to earn foreign exchange. That is how this is supposed to run, not the other way around. We don't need import of vegetables in Zambia. We need to be the producers and the exporters, because our environment, like I said, we have the super climate, the best environment. We have all these natural resources in which we are endowed with them, which most of our friends don't have them.
You mean tomato puree comes from China sometimes?
Years back. I will refer to the time when I personally, with other colleagues, we conducted the
About 3 years ago.
About 3-4 years ago. We conducted that value chain, and this is what was happening with most of the processing plants here in Zambia. That's why I'm saying, even now, there's a need to conduct the audit. The audit can be done because if the local farmers are supplying those companies, that record should be there, and we should be that record should be available to us to make sure that indeed the Zambian farmers are the ones who are producing that tomato that we are seeing in the feedstock for the factories that are processing here in Zambia. Yeah, for me, the question is, if the Zambians are the ones who are supplying the tomato puree, the tomato for processing, then we should have at least a shift in the market. Now I've said so because mostly when you see the people growing tomato, they are talking of Soweto market, they are talking of Bowden market, they are talking of Chilenge market, Copper Belt, they are talking of Nakadori market in Kitwe, they are talking of Kasumbalesa market. But why don't we have a situation where some of the tomato that we grow goes into the feedstock for those people who are processing? They will say, no, it's not every tomato that goes into processing. We are saying, yes, we understand that as technocraft, that not every tomato can be processed, but the varieties which can be processed in Zambia, they can be grown. We know them. We have the varieties on the market. If there is a ready market for processing for Zambia, we are going to go into those tomatoes which can be processed and produce them in bulk and then feed the stock. The thing that we need is they need to give us the what? Their processing capacity. Once they give us the processing capacity, and then from there we are going to go backwards and do what we call staggered production plan. In the staggered production plan, we are going to produce this tomato as Zambian farmers to feed into the feedstock. There will be no time when they will like tomato. We are capable of doing that as Zambian farmers.
When you are driving to Chipata, Mr. Imbai, just at Silver Rest, have you seen the tomatoes which go to waste?
Yes.
And when you are driving to Kabwe, just after Zanimone there, you see the tomatoes, Chibombo, everywhere. You see these things.
Yes.
Kablonga girls, Kablonga boys, they've started their farming there of tomatoes. Sometimes it goes to waste.
Yes.
And we are saying, if certain things are stopped, like the importation of tomatoes, I have seen that some of the things, I won't mention the shop, I also saw a truck bringing tomatoes and carrots.
Yes.
From outside the country, well packaged.
Yes.
Surely carrots. We can't grow carrots here.
We can grow. It's one of the crops that should not even be imported. Yes. Carrot is an easy crop to grow. You plant direct, you don't even do the nursery. You are talking of between 100 and 120 days, the carrot is ready with a very big tonnage per hectare.
Really?
So I don't see the reason why one should import carrot and bring it into our country.
Maybe our carrots are not up to the standard.
No. The standard, the quality is not an issue. The agronomists they are using out there and the agronomists that we have here in Zambia, the science is the same. I will tell you something, Pastor. Investors, these people called investors who come from Europe, they will buy a farm here. And after buying the farm, the person who will be managing that farm is a Zambian manager. The scientist who will be doing all the sciences on the farm will be a Zambian scientist. So I don't want to agree that the quality that is produced in other countries is better than ours, because we are able to produce the quality product which can compete favorably on the market without compromise on the quality. We understand these things. All what we need is to put the right science in place, the right input in place, and manage the value chain system. For me, for vegetables like carrots, tomato, and onion, these which I have personally seen coming into the country, I'm saying the listening government should do something about it. We don't want those vegetables. Let them try us, the scientists and the technocrats, as we make this claim, and see if when they ban those, the Zambian people are going to starve, they will not have those vegetables. Then we are going to revert to allow the import. But as it is now, we are taking it as a challenge. Let them try to put a stop on those vegetables and make sure they are not coming in the country, and see how the Zambian people are going to perform on this one. And I can double guarantee there will be no person who is going to have eye problem because they are not eating enough carrot. There will be no person who is going to say in their meal they don't have enough condiment like onion. The onion will be readily available. All these vegetables will be made available by the local producers, and you will see the economy, how it is going to perform at that time, because the money that is going to be saved from these vegetables that are coming in as foreign exchange there will be a significant figure there.
Oh, Jehovah. Now you are speaking as a technocrat. You are speaking because you are a scientist. You understand this. But I'm also appealing to my Zambian brothers and sisters, mothers, aunties and uncles, fathers, please get land. And Zambians, stop selling land, no matter how hungry you are. This land you are dealing with, let me tell you something. 10 years from now, this crusade we have begun as Camnet TV, I want you to know that it's an economical crusade. You have heard from Mr. Imbai. You hear from other people. We didn't know the value of land. But the more I'm interacting with these people, I can assure you that you can be guaranteed to be a millionaire within 3 years, within 4 years. Absolutely. Whether you are doing avocados, whether you are doing mangoes, whether you are... The eyes have just been opened like this. Camnet TV viewers, let's create millionaires. You know, when we began, Mr. Imbai,
yes,
I was telling my wife, my wife and I were appealing to the government because I saw the poverty levels in Zambia and all this. We began by appealing to the government to borrow $500 million. $500 million, borrow, and then give in every province give 10 million. 50 million. Raise 50 million. 50 people. Give them 1 million each. That is 50 million per province. With what we are talking about, Mr. Imbai, 1 million, can't you produce stuff that will be in excess for billions?
You can. Let's talk about the language that we have heard from the politicians, job, employment creation. When we talk about employment creation, naturally, and we think we are going to employ anyone who will be receiving a brown envelope at the end of the month, we are deceiving ourselves. The role the government has is to create an enabling environment for entrepreneurship. Let the people go into entrepreneurship, because when people go into entrepreneurship, the innovations, the risk taking will put them on a certain point. It will put them at a certain point where they will become financially free. There is no person who will become financially free from the salary. I call them wage slaves. I was in employment myself, but I know what I'm talking about. So the kind of employment creation that should be done can be achieved by these things that we are talking about. Let's talk about, for example, the youths. You have got these youths who are just busy drinking, not because they want to drink, but because they don't have what to do in the country. Gather them together, look for a piece of land, which is maybe, give them land, maybe, let's say 5 hectares, and implement the project that we are talking about. Just give them the startup capital. You put these things in place. Don't give them for free, but give them as a loan. Take the say 50 youths there and put the project, one of these projects we are talking about. Then after the project has really been actualized, it has produced a result, grab back what you gave to them, let them run on the profit that they have made, shift it to another place. How many jobs are you going to create? Because the job doesn't necessarily need to be formal, it has to be an informal job. Job creation, for me, in my own definition, is anything that creates income at household level. That's what I can say, Pastor.
Mr. Imbai, my heart beats faster than normal.
Yeah.
When I see the money which Zambians are not using.
Yes.
Like I said, 500 million, if the president or the government borrowed and give 500 Zambians, 50 in each province, and say, let's go farming.
Yes, yes.
You know, even if we said we will bring back that money the following year, 1 million, if this can produce 160 million kwacha per hectare, and I have 10, you have 10, somebody has 10, surely, can we fail to pay that $500 million within a record time?
No, we can.
We can pay it even within 3 years.
Yes, we can.
We can liquidate that. And this is where I am driving. By the special grace of God, Mr. Imbai, as we partner with the government, as we work together, the money will be in our pockets. The money will be yours. All the government will do is to tax.
Yes.
Because we have to be taxed.
We have to be taxed for sure.
Tax every Zambian, tax every Zambian. That money which the government is taxing will service both the internal and external loans.
Yes, yes.
I believe with all my heart, Mr. Imbai, if we take this program National Matters seriously and what we are discussing about here, I've said I will live to see Zambia become a better country.
Yes.
The people who turned Dubai into what it is, Singapore into what it is, Hong Kong into what it is, South Korea into what it is, it was the nationals.
Yes, yes, the citizens themselves.
The citizens. And my friend Mr. Lee from South Korea, he came and said, Pastor Chiruba, you don't know what you are missing here.
Yeah.
Us in South Korea, we have small land, but we were given tasks as nationals. He says they used to report for work 05 and knock off at 19 hours.
Yes.
Today, South Korea is a power to reckon with. What is difficult with Zambia? I believe with all my heart that we are going to turn this nation into a clean nation. I was driving along Freedom Road, Freedom, just from that Stanley bar I was going to Lusaka West. Oh, I regretted that I took that road. Can you imagine the filth there? Plastics. And the people selling Utuma jeans and the stockings and the finished bras.
Imagine.
And you call that business?
No.
When we can actually get into the production, seriously.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Sure.
Mr. Director, please give us the advert for Copper Belt. Copper Belt people, don't be like Lusaka. They missed the opportunity, and now that's when phones are ringing through cabinet.
Imagine.
Pastor, when are you having this conference? Because they are hearing from their friends. I guarantee you, those of you that are on the Copper Belt, 500 kwacha, that 10 kwacha is for you or for us to withdraw from MTN, Airtel, or Zamtel. They charge 10 kwacha.
Yes.
But that 500 kwacha is for your ticket. Trust me, after you are through with these people, you have never probably attended a conference like the one we had in Lusaka. We had doctors, PhD holders, we had all sorts of people. At the end of the conference, they had one language. Where was this conference? We should have had it 3 years ago. Today, Zambia would be at a different level.
Yeah.
Even with COVID, we could be at a different level. Zambia, you are blessed. You were born for greatness. This nation is a great nation. Make no mistake about it. And don't listen to failures who tell you, no, economy na bonaula, it won't be repaired, it won't be, you know, those voices come from negative people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be positive.
Yes.
You were born for greatness. You and us, we shall change the economy. Mr. Director, give us that advert. After the advert, the lines will be open. You can ask Mr. Imbai, you can contribute. But Camnet TV viewers, I am so glad with your families, with your children, you are watching this life-giving broadcast. I want you to know that some of the people listening to this, 5 years, 3 years from now, you'll be millionaires. You never expected to be a millionaire, but I guarantee you, this is not cheap talk. May God bless this great nation of Zambia.
Join us on the 9th of October 2020
for the National Matters Conference in Kitwe. Venue, Living Water Global Church in Wosakile, opposite Wosakile Police Station. Time, 08 hours to 17 hours. Theme, Unlocking Zambia's Potential Through Raising a Generation of Generational Thinkers. Charges, 510 kwacha, lunch inclusive. Speakers will be Dr. Collins Kachaka.
If you have a 3 liters per second, then we say in science that you qualify to get involved in fish farming because you have adequate water.
Dr. Mushalika.
Don't over-listen to people who are happy to see you poor. They don't mean any good for us. There are no people who are developed by others. All people develop themselves.
Dr. Prosper Sievu, Engineer Bernard Chuala.
You are welcome so that we can create a critical mass of participants in the avocado industry. 1 hectare in 12 months will give you no less than 1 million kwacha. Hello?
Mr. Himbai.
You planted a deep-rooted plant into a shallow-rooted, so where is it getting the nutrients? Nowhere. So that plant, it will not give you the potency. You have failed at land preparation.
Mr. Salanda.
All of them lay eggs. You can use them for eggs and also for meat. They lay at least in a year a minimum of, to the lowest, a minimum of 100 chickens each.
All the dyes, all the paints, all the lubricants, they come from a plant called castor. 34% of our medicinal elements, they come from a castor root.
Not forgetting your host, Pastor Victoria and Moses Chidova.
Mwe bantu mwishitisha land. Mwe bantu mwishitisha land. Nami papati. It is unthinkable.
Take note, limited numbers due to COVID-19 restrictions. Make your payments through Airtel Mobile Money on 0979 75 3010 or on MTN Mobile Money on 0962 38 2535 or 0962 965883.
Really been impacting on so many levels.
This was really powerful, and I'm glad I didn't miss this one.
This conference has been wonderful in the sense that the knowledge that we've acquired within a day is so much overwhelming.
Should this conference come to Western Province, I urge them all to come en masse.
I didn't know that there's potential in me, and wealth was lying right where I was.
The way to go right now is agriculture.
The knowledge that we have gathered out of this meeting is immeasurable.
Hurry, don't miss this life-changing conference.
Camnet TV viewers, welcome back. I'll keep on referring to my visit to State House with my wife and team. And I want you to know that President Chagwa Lungu, when he heard this, when we made the presentation there, he just said, Pastor Chiluba, go for this program. We have the blessing of the president. We have the blessing of this government. And you people, let me tell you, we are able to feed ourselves. We are able to produce and grow. Mr. Himbai, the land that is lying idle, can't we produce? You didn't even talk about flowers. We will come to that. Can't we flood Europe? Because I'm told that avocado, there is shortage, fish, there is shortage, mango, there is shortage. The things we are talking about here, I am told they are in short supply.
Yes, they are in short supply for sure because of the environment. Zambia, like I said, is a super country with a super predictable climate. The weather patterns are predictable and the climate itself is super. There's nothing that we need to do to modify our country in order for it to become productive. We are not in countries where we need to heating up so that we meet the tropical environment in order for our crop to grow. Here in Zambia, all we need is input, put them in the soil, mix them with water and nutrient, then you have what you want. We are able to produce. Let's talk about the flowers. This time around, what is happening is that every gathering, what do you see? Artificial flowers coming from China. That's not supposed to be the case. The flower culture has the capacity. I remember years back when we had companies like ZEGA, Zambia Export Growers Association. Most of the flowers were coming from here going to Europe. And they were appreciated very much because, as you know, Zambia, in terms of the usage of the pesticides, is slightly on the lower side compared to our friends out there. So when the product comes from here, it is regarded as semi-organic, even if we use the pesticide, because of the rate at which we're using pesticides. So the markets out there will appreciate our product. All we just need to do is go on the ground, stop talking, but do the implementation of the project.
There was this farm called Agriflora, just here. They were producing all their flowers for Europe.
Yes.
And made a lot of money.
And made a lot of money, yes.
I was going, my niece, my granddaughter, Rita, got married to the young man there, Pastor Galande, in Mansa. I went to attend the wedding for my granddaughter. That was 2 weeks ago. Mr. Ambai, you'd shed tears. You'd shed tears. You drive through Congo. On the other side of what's this? Zambia. As you cross into Zambia.
Yes.
The river. You cross that Levi Mwanawasa bridge. You see the water, the land this side, it's unutilized. See the dress code of people. See how many children are running when school is over, running to their home. When we can even build schools close to villages. Let's pick up this call and, hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening, sir. I'm Mr. Manipuri from Chingola.
Mr. who?
Manengo.
Mr. Manengo.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Manengo, go ahead and contribute.
Yeah, after the first half, I appreciated you because we have been watching it come to TV for a long time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and the discussion, I'm very much happy about.
Oh, Mr. Manengo, please call again. You are Camnet TV viewer, Mr. Manengo, and there in Chingola, please look for a land. Listen to these facts. These are statistics coming from scientists like Mr. Imbai, Chiwala, and all these Dr. Kachaka. Listen to this. 2 hectares of land, 2 hectares, will turn you into a millionaire.
Absolutely.
2 hectares of land will turn you into a millionaire. Like I said, I went to see this Egyptian scientist, and who said, Pastor Chiluba, I'm ready to consult with Camnet TV. This land that you have, this country is great. You are a superpower. He was speaking passionately that we are a superpower and will produce millions of dollars.
Yes.
Hello?
Hello, good evening, Pastor.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, I'm Christian Mansa calling you from Kasama.
Mr. Christian,
Yes.
please go ahead and speak.
Yeah, I just want to appreciate this program that you are doing.
Yes, sir.
This project is very, very, it's a crusade, like you said, it's economical crusade.
Yes, sir.
We really need this thing, this project in Ghana. For me, it's a blessing. You are blessing us as a whole, as a nation. It's a wake up call. It's an eye opener for us.
Amen.
We were inspired to discover the potential that is lying idle within ourselves. So it's really thank you for this project. I just also appeal to Mr. Mbai to also amplify on the issue of yesterday that when we talk about the ginger production.
Okay.
If it can still shape your knowledge and life, I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Christian. Briefly talk about ginger. The people like him didn't hear that it's a very expensive, rewarding plant.
Yeah, true. Yes, it's a plant that you plant and forget. The management level is quite low. Water and the micro health and minimal nutrients. And you don't irrigate it like regularly the way you do for your tomato and these other vegetables. But it will take about 8 to 12 months for you to harvest. Now, when you harvest that ginger from a hectare, the minimum yield will be 18.2 tons. The current price market is the lowest is 27 kwacha per hectare. That's how I got those figures that I was telling you that you are able to make 1.8 million kwacha from a hectare of ginger. So it's a crop that you have planted and you are managing for this period, but the time for harvest comes, it will pay you for the next, it will pay you income to keep you for the next 5 years, and even 5 years backwards, I think.
Let's pick up this advert for the people in Kitwe. If only you can go and make the payments today or latest tomorrow, trust me, you won't go wrong. Let's pick up this advert.
Join us on the 9th of October 2020
for the National Matters Conference in Kitwe. Venue: Living Water Global Church in Wosakile, opposite Wosakile Police Station. Time: 08 hours to 17 hours. Theme: Unlocking Zambia's potential through raising a generation of generational thinkers. Charges: 510 kwacha, lunch inclusive. Speakers will be Dr. Collins Kachaka.
If you have a 3 liters per second, then we say in science that you qualify to get involved in fish farming because you have adequate water.
Dr. Mushalika.
Don't over-listen to people who are happy to see you poor. They don't mean any good for us. There are no people who are developed by others. All people develop themselves.
Dr. Prosper Sievo, Engineer Bernard Chuala.
You are welcome, so that we can create a critical mass of participants in the avocado industry. 1 hectare in 12 months will give you no less than 1 million kwacha. Hello?
Mr. Himbai.
You planted a deep-rooted plant into a shallow-rooted, so where is it getting the nutrients? Nowhere. So that plant, it will not give you the potency. You have failed at land preparation.
Mr. Salanda.
All of them lay eggs. You can use them for eggs and also for meat. They lay at least in a year a minimum of, to the lowest, a minimum of 100 chickens each.
All the dyes, all the paints, all the lubricants, they come from a plant called castor. 34% of our medicinal elements, they come from a castor root.
Not forgetting your host, Pastor Victoria and Moses Chidora.
Mwe bantu mwishitisha land. Mwe bantu mwishitisha land. Na mipapata. It is unthinkable.
Take note, limited numbers due to COVID-19 restrictions. Make your payments through Airtel Mobile Money on 0979753010 or on MTN Mobile Money on 0962382535 or 0962965883.
Really been impacting on so many levels.
This was really powerful, and I'm glad I didn't miss this one.
This conference has been wonderful in the sense that the knowledge that we've acquired within a day is so much overwhelming.
Should this conference come to Western Province, I urge them all to come en masse.
I didn't know that there's potential in me, and wealth was lying right where I was.
The way to go right now is agriculture.
The knowledge that we have gathered out of this meeting is immeasurable.
Hurry, don't miss this life-changing conference.
Wow. Camnet TV viewers, those of you that are watching this broadcast, before you know it, we may be closing, because I want you to know that we are the people from Chipata, Livingstone, and we are the people from Solwezi and others from Kitwe. We said, you have come from Kitwe. Why can't you wait for Kitwe? They said we couldn't wait. Even the Kitwe one we are attending. And by this morning, there are families that have bought tickets, Mr. Mbai.
Yes.
They say they are going to attend this conference at Okos from Lusaka. They are traveling all the way to Kitwe because they missed the conference. And you are in Kitwe. I want you to know, you never know the timings of God. One little idea. Some of us are sitting in the studio here because we sat under powerful preachers. Just one idea. They tell you about TV, they tell you about this. One idea, you say, I'm going to run with it. And that's it. You were talking about, Mr. Christian wanted to know about the garlic. Is it garlic or?
Ginger.
Ginger, yeah.
Yeah. So his question was about ginger. I explained that basically when you plant it, the whole hectare will give you 18.2 tons after a period of 8 to 12 months. But when you sell, the output of that will give you about 1.8 million kwacha within that period of time. And then I said what it will
1.8 million.
1.8 million
per hectare.
Per hectare, yes. And when you talk about the demand itself, it's overwhelming. A lot of people have gone into ginger drinks now. We are approached as people who are facilitating, working with farmers. Where can I find the ginger? We don't have them. We don't have where to direct them because people are not growing it. So those are the lucrative crops that people should try to venture into it.
Hello? Let's speak up this comments. Hello?
Hello, good evening, Pastor Silva.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, Bola Chinesa calling from Lopula, Mansa.
Who?
Bola Chinesa.
Babu Ariam with my brother here.
Yes, I just want to find out more about strawberries. He's talking about growing. What about strawberries? Because I've noticed, like here in Wakula, we rarely see strawberries around. Now I'm particularly interested in growing strawberries. So if you can shed more light on that one, I would really appreciate it.
Mr. Imbai, do strawberries grow in Zambia?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, so Mr. Waria, we are talking about a number of crops. Some of them you have to be really reminding us.
Yeah.
You have to be reminding us of the crops that you think there is a potential, but you don't know how to grow them. Certainly, strawberry is one of just a cheap crop that you can grow, but very expensive and with high returns on investment. I'm managing a farm on behalf of a friend of mine who is doing it as part-time in the backyard. That friend of mine makes an average of 4,000 kwacha after 3 months from a backyard, which is very small in unit. So strawberry is another
4,000 kwacha.
4,000 kwacha just from a small backyard garden.
Every
3 months they make about 4,000 kwacha from there. So basically it's a very simple crop to grow. It's a crop that you can grow with minimal synthetic fertilizer, if not completely without synthetic fertilizers, because it can grow on organic matter depending on organic natural fertilizers, which we can guide you. For own information, these things that we are talking about here, we can guide you step by step from the beginning up to the end. It's not something that will let you, we will incite you to go into it and then without giving you the backup. We are already doing it for horticulture farmers here in Lusaka and other places. Personally, I've traveled, I've been to Chirirabombwe, I've been to Livingstone and everywhere to go and mentor people who are going into these subsectors. So we can guide you, give you the proper guidance on how to grow these crops. We start with the field layout. We tell you the pH requirement. We tell you the soil sterilization that need to be done. We tell you the nutrition. We tell you the disease control and pest management. Every nitty-gritty that is involved in this production will guide you through. We are there with you. We are not giving you this information and leave you. You are going to be with us together and we'll be giving you the information that you need.
But of course you must know that when Mr. Imbai comes, he's not coming for free. No.
Absolutely, Pastor.
This is not church where he comes to say amen, praise the Lord. He's coming as a consultant. You call him, you call all these speakers, they will come as consultants. But what you get the information from these people, as compared to what you'll be putting in the pocket, it will be amazing. You know that, Mr. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think any average Zambian here, we don't keep money in the bank because we don't have anything to bank.
Yeah.
Are there people you can say Zambians who have, without agriculture, who have millions of money stashed up in the bank?
No. Only farmers.
Even when you retire as a civil servant, a general in the army, he will get 1 million, if not less than a million. If you get 2 million, 3 million as a general, probably a commander, somebody growing garlic just on 3 hectares per year, he will be more than the army commander's salary.
Yes.
And the retirement.
And retirement package, yes. That is true.
Hey, let's pick up some text messages, Mr. Director. This is too good. Evening, sirs. When are you coming to Mwandi, Sesheke for trainings with those experts in agriculture? Those programs are so educative and life-changing. Thanks. May God permanently bless your entire team. This is Mr. Mununka. Trevor, you are a blessing. Trevor, you were born for greatness. Good evening. How much startup capital does one need to go into growing exotic vegetables on 2 hectares of land? This is Lee in Imansa. Please answer this question. This is very important. Wait, Mr. Director. Let Mr. Imbai answer that question. We will read this one later. These are the things I want to hear. 2 hectares of land.
Yeah.
So I want to start exotic.
So when you are going into exotics, the first thing that I will say is that the crop production is at 2 stages. The first stage is where you already have an established farm which has got equipment. Of course, when you are going into horticulture, you must have water and the irrigation technologies. For example, right now, the technology which is more appropriate for our generation is drip irrigation system. If you already have the drip irrigation system and you are asking about what we call the variable cost are the monies that you use to put the input cost and also the labor cost. For certain crops, you need around 12,000 kwacha, but where the output will not be below 150,000 in a period of 6 months.
You need about 12,000?
12,000 kwacha, yes, for variable costs. But this does not include the capital items like the irrigation technologies and the equipment. We are talking about the variable cost, which are the costs for the inputs and the labor cost.
And you must know, Lee, that by the special grace of God, my wife and I are working with a team of experts. And within our team, there are people that are ready to put drip irrigation at a minimal cost. And this is the latest technology on the market we are talking about, where you don't drain your boreholes because of irrigation.
Yeah.
You just irrigate 1 hour per day, and your crops will have sufficient moisture underground. So I'm almost becoming a scientist.
You are already a scientist.
Like you. How can the two work together unless they agree?
Unless they agree.
I am just spending too much time with these people, and I'm saying now, 14th of October, Mr. Imbai,
yes.
I'm turning 60.
Yes.
And you can imagine I'm saying, why didn't I hear this information?
Yes.
20 years ago.
20 years back you were here.
40 years ago. But God is a God of timing. Let's get the text messages that you gave. The text message, Mr. Director. Good evening, Pastor and Mr. Imbai. I would like to find out if the mangoes you are talking about growing out of season is the same mangoes as that we have growing in our backyards. And what are the effects of eating those mangoes that are sprayed those chemicals that accelerate the ripening of the mangoes? This is Justin Tembo. Before Mr. Imbai answers, thank you, Mr. Director. Before he answers, these mangoes that I saw today, there is no spreading of chemicals like they do to vegetables. These are the same mangoes. Do they have effects in our bodies?
The mangoes?
Yeah.
No.
The mangoes we are talking about growing?
No.
They don't have effects. And also, the mangoes that we eat, they grow between November and December, isn't it? January, yes. That's when we start eating.
Yes, yes.
But these ones, even in May, June, you can produce them. You have the mangoes in June. That's why we import mangoes from South Africa.
From South Africa, yes.
Right now, you go into supermarkets, you find those big, nice mangoes. That's why Mr. Imbai was saying we can stop importing those things.
Yes, yes.
Give your expert authority in this matter.
Yeah, so the mangoes, like the pastor rightly said, those are varieties of mangoes which are hybrid, which grow throughout the year, and they give you the mangoes at the time when the other mangoes are off the season. In horticulture business, you make more money based on what we call the law of supply and demand. If you had those mangoes during the time between November and December here in Zambia, when the rest of the mangoes are ripening, obviously you are not going to sell them because the competition will be very high. The supply side will be higher because of the mangoes that are ripening naturally, these ones that we are growing. So those are special mangoes. They will give you the fruit when the other mangoes are not on the market. In terms of the chemical spraying, like the spraying for ripening, I've seen those chemicals. Some people use them, especially notorious people who use them, especially on crops like bananas. Yeah, those chemicals, if they are abused, they have got a side effect, they have got a toxicity on them. And the label will show. Some of them are even carcinogenic. They can cause cancer. generally what happens is that when the fruits have been harvested, like for example the mangoes themselves, they are not sprayed with any chemicals. All you need to do is to pick them up and then disinfect them with chlorinated water. All they need is sanitization. There are crops like there are some sanitizers for crops like Spokeo, which has nothing but just to kill the bacteria which will prolong the life of those fruits that have been harvested. So basically, the chemicals are not needed for those mangoes like after harvesting. But the chemicals that are used during the production period, those ones, they will definitely be needed, but then they will be within their pre-harvest interval period. They will not have an effect on you. They will have already expired in the plants.
Thank you so much. Keep on calling, Camnet TV viewers, and those of you that are in Solwezi, by the way. We will come to Solwezi, but we will tell you the dates not now. So it would be safer for you to travel from Solwezi into Kitwe. Chingola, Ndola, Kalulushi, and those in Mansa, there. It's easy for you to get to Mufrira and you are in Kitwe. Please don't miss this conference for anything. My wife and I kept on appealing to the people of Lusaka, but you are having the preview of what you shall hear. And my goodness, you need to be there, because when these men start offloading the information, this is an economical crusade. And I believe with all my heart that Zambia is raising millionaires. I look forward to seeing within 3 years people saying, thank God for Camnet TV and for the information you got from here. Give us the text messages. Those of you that are to call, please call. You were born for greatness. Evening, Pastor Chiluba and Mr. Imbai. I'm so encouraged with the heavily wisdom that has been reviewed at that platform. Indeed, lack of knowledge has made most of us to enjoy suffering and put blame on the government, which is true. I wish to have your number and consult on when I start my farming next year. I am pastor. Okay. Hello. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
How are you, sir?
I'm all right. This is Willie from Fulila.
Willie from Fulila.
Fulila, yes, sir.
Please go ahead and speak.
All right. I'm not interested in the same program. When I've looked at the workshop itself, which I'm keen to attend, but I don't think I'll manage. So I was thinking if there is a way, or if it means watching it live, or if there will be a different a female occasion like that one, so I can attend.
Oh, well, Willie, sorry about that. If we can tell our programs to accommodate every person that they attend, it cannot be a program. One, we have said, yes, Camnet TV is capturing all the teachings professionally. But one thing I can guarantee you, we will never show these programs on TV. Zambians, it's high time we became responsible. If you don't come for the conference, you won't hear these teachings and everything anywhere. You may hear it from one person, but this is a group of experts. And after the conference, you sit down with them, you get their phone numbers, they start advising you, and my goodness, already some people that sat under Dr. Kachaka, who heard about fish farming. My wife and I already, we've got the quotation for fish farming, by the way, for the fish pond.
Yes.
Because I enjoy fish. My wife and I, we enjoy fish. Look at the amount of money, Mr. Imbai, that people make to sell fish and also to eat.
Yes.
One pond, Dr. Kachaka was saying, it gives you about 160 7,000 kwacha, just one pond. You have 10 of them, that is 1.6 million, which is coming in how many weeks? Every 6 weeks.
6 months.
6 months. You have that kind of money. Every 6 months, you have that kind of money. You are eating, you are selling, and the tilapia fish is in short supply, isn't it?
Yes, yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jehovah. So, Willie, forgive my wife and I, forgive the Camnet TV, and forgive this team. We are not going to play these teachings on Camnet. You just have to come and attend and take your notes, and may God bless you. Give us some other text messages, Mr. Director. Whoa, Mr. Imbai and Pastor, great knowledge there. God bless you. As a pastor, I have planted 130 plants of eggplants on my backyard garden. I make at least 230 kwacha, selling for by 5 kwacha. I thank God for Camnet. I have taken farming as a business, even on my backyard garden, with the Cactus of Camnet TV initiative. I invite you to my backyard garden. Thank you. My prayer is to have a big land to increase production, and he will increase it, of course. Thanks, servants of God. This is Captain Jethro in Lusaka. May the Lord bless you.
Thank you.
Look at that. He sells some money, he gets something.
Yes, 230 kwacha. The bunches of 5 kwacha, 2 kwacha, yeah.
Oh, good evening, Pastor. My name is Jennifer from Lusaka. My desire is to do farming. I have 5 acres land in Waterfalls area. At the moment, I just grow maize. I thank you for the program. Jennifer, that 5 acres, my dear, you are sitting on money.
Yeah, millions.
And this is serious money.
Yeah, this is serious money for sure.
Hey.
Waterfalls within Lusaka.
Good evening, Pastor Chiluba and Mr. Imbai. You have continued to demonstrate how much you love this country through your programs like National Matters. I can't wait to be part and parcel of the conference earmarked for Kitwe. God richly bless you, Pastor Chiluba and Mama, for Camnet TV. This is Chimbala in Mufrila. Mr. Chimbala, please, Mr. Director, please take out this text. Let me speak to the nation. You know, Camnet TV viewers, those of you who have money, if you can get 5,000 kwacha, please pay for your neighbors. Pay for somebody who has a plot, even if it's 1 hectare. Mr. Imbai, I keep on telling people, don't sell land. Don't sell land for anything. Others have got 100 hectares of land, and it's idle.
Yes.
You can't plant avocado trees there.
You can.
They don't need supervision. Hello?
Hello?
Good evening.
Good evening, Pastor Chiluba.
Good evening, sir.
This is Humphrey in Chingola.
Mr.? You are Mr. who?
Humphrey Chibuye.
Humphrey?
Yes.
Humphrey who?
Humphrey Chibuye in Chingola.
Chibuye. Please go ahead and contribute.
Okay, I'm following the program, and I'm asking if there is anyone who wants to invest in those programs. I have a land, but I don't have enough funds for the program. So, if there is anyone now who is willing to partner with me, I'm available.
You have land?
Yes, about 16 hectares.
About 16
hectares.
16 hectares?
Yes.
What you do, Humphrey, send your text to the number on the middle there, and you just say that I'm Humphrey Chibuye from Chingola. I have 16 hectares, because that 16 hectares we would like to mobilize the youths in Chingola so that you can work with them we can empower you. Camnet TV will look for cooperating partners so that we can empower you with your fellow youths. 16 hectares, Mr. Imbai, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of land, yeah.
A lot of land.
Yeah.
And may God richly bless you for your heart. Send me the text on the middle. You just say that I'm Humphrey in Chingola.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Imbai.
Yeah.
If every Zambian gets involved, let's pick 25,000 Zambians.
Yes.
With 10 hectares of land. Can't we eliminate poverty in this nation?
Absolutely, we can, Pastor.
Zambia would not be considered as a poor nation.
No, no, no. Because Zambia is not even poor in the first place. This country is very rich. What defines the country's wealth is the natural resources that it has, and also the skills that it has in its people. Now we have the skills, we have the resources. So this country is not poor. What we just need to do is be on our toes and do the right thing, and then right away our country, the economical status of the country will be changed. Yes, because this country is not poor, it's rich.
My goodness. May the Lord bless Camnet TV viewers. Please invite your friends, send messages, national matters. These things are there for you. Partnership of greatness. Remember, you were born for greatness. Hello.
Hello, good evening, Pastor Brewer.
Good evening, sir.
This is Kalukando calling from Kashiwe.
Who?
Kalukando Maxwell from Kashiwe.
Kalukando. I've noticed that every caller hasn't greeted my guest, Mr. Imbai. They are just greeting me. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Imbai.
Good evening, Mr. Kalukango. How are you?
I'm very fine. We thank you, Pastor Jehovah, that you are playing the role the government is supposed to play. We thank you for that. Now, what we want please is that these are the programs which are supposed to be taken over by the government. We thank you, God should bless you. You are a true man of God. It's not that I'm praising you that there's somebody, please, God should have your name. And the government should take over this program.
Amen.
And should take over this program. And you see, take them very serious. We want them even to bring some companies like Zambo who can help these people. Those great men, the services you are having, are supposed to be given authority and teaching in colleges. These are the programs. Please go back to the land. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kalukando. What a contribution. Let me just say that the only comfort, Mr. Kalukando, is that I am eternally grateful to God because, like I said, I have the blessing of the President. Minister Katambo has been of great help. He's connected me to his PS, the directors and what. But I understand what you are saying. Once the government bring in their resources, their equipment, their everything, we will get there. But that's where we are going. We are so grateful. I was saying, Mr. Imbai,
yes, sir,
that, you know, one pastor has given us a farm in Mufurira.
In Mufurira, yes.
100 hectares.
Yes.
And my prayer to God is that we are going to develop that. We will share. The family will have a say.
Yes.
Because even from 20 hectares, the families will be millionaires.
They will be millionaires for sure.
And 80 hectares will take the poor of Mufurira, the youths.
Yes.
And create something. Zambia is yet to see that we are blessed of the Lord.
Yes.
I had Mr. Tembo. He just came all the way. He missed the conference, actually. Mr. Banda is from, what's this place? Kacholola.
Kacholola, yeah, in Eastern Province.
Mr. Imbai, he has asked that we partner together. He has 800 hectares.
Wow.
Of land.
That is massive.
800 hectares of land on title. And he doesn't use it. He has only cleared about 50 hectares. 750 hectares.
It's untapped.
It's untapped. And I'm saying to the government, like Mr. Kalukando has said, once we have government help us with the machines, we go and open up that land. The money that will come from there will be part of the GDP.
Yes, it
which
will.
Even is some countries, some countries can't earn.
Yes, that
from
is true.
800 hectares, Mr. Imbai.
That's a lot of money.
Give me the calculation.
Actually, it's a lot of money. Let's take, for example, this thing we have been talking about, the onion production.
The onion production,
Yeah.
yes.
The onion production under irrigation, a hectare will give you, if you plant it correctly, where you plant 1 million seedlings per hectare.
1 million.
It will give you 60 metric tons.
1 million seedlings.
Yes. It will take 120 days to grow.
120, yes.
Then you harvest that onion, you sell it on the market at the lowest price of 100 kwacha per 10 kg pouch. That is already 600,000 kwacha. Look at the time that you took to grow the crop. It was 120 to 135 days. It was ready for sale. And that's the kind of money that we are talking about. Such kind of enterprises.
So on 800 hectares, you are saying that we can get billions?
Billions, yes. And I want to say this.
Hey.
One market system that works in Zambia, and I think I saw this when I was doing the value chain market analysis for the horticulture in Zambia. I discovered that onion is grown by farmers in Ilundazi. A lot of farmers grow onion in Ilundazi Kapichira area, and that onion is exported into Malawi.
Really?
And when it is exported into Malawi, then it is imported back into Zambia, and it ends at Kasumbalesa. So the people in Kasumbalesa think they are eating onion from Malawi, when actually the onion is grown in Malawi. It has gone, yeah, it has crossed over into Malawi. Again, from Malawi, it comes through Mwami border. You find trucks and trucks carrying onion from Mwami border. You think they are it's grown in Malawi, when actually the Malawians have bought it from the Zambian Rusunta border in Ilundazi area there.
Oh, really?
So there is a lot of potential in these horticulture crops. I'm saying if the onion can move all the way from Chipata to Kasumbalesa border, passing through all these channels, and still the traders still making money, then it simply means that the horticulture farmers everywhere are able to make money.
And what you have said now, Mr. Imbai, the price that they sell it at into Malawi is low.
Yes, yes.
And Malawi puts a markup.
A markup, yes.
To sell into Congo.
Yes.
When we can directly sell into Congo.
We can sell into Congo, yes.
And Congo is a big market for anything.
Yes, it's a big market for anything.
I was there in Lubumbashi, and someone reminded me, actually, one of the speakers yesterday, that, Imilonge, Twitter Imilonge, or Imilamba, what? It's called
It's called catfish.
Catfish.
Yes, yes.
I am told it's very expensive even in Europe.
Yes, yes.
Very expensive, but in Congo, that is one of the most expensive fish. And here, you can breed them in thousands.
Yes.
In millions. And you have people like Mr. Imbai, who can come and teach me, Mother Zambia. Even if we are lazy, 100 hectares turns you into a millionaire. Sure, these onions is talking about 1 million plants per hectare, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
And when you harvest, you are talking about millions. Everything we are saying here, it's in millions. These are not theories. These are the experts who are visiting farmers. You see the Muzungus in Mukushvali, Kalanendeke. They have airstrips. These people have been to those farms. Ali Kwatanama airstrip. They grow the same things that we grow, but they send them to Europe. And you and I, ni rape. If yakulia fya maos, if tuaikalira fyokula tintana na maos, ya sumako kuna ine na sumako. I think this is coming to the end. Mr. Imbai,
yes.
May the Lord God bless you, and I look forward to being with you in Kitwe.
Amen.
And all the speakers.
Amen.
I've been your pastor on national matters. We keep on pushing. This is an economical crusade. Zambia, you were born for greatness. Every Zambian here, you have no reason. You have no reason to kill your friend with a panga because you just want to be a councillor. You have no reason to break someone's car because you just want favors in the political party. Child of the Most High God, let's go back to the land. Let government take joy in its citizens, not creating problems, but to be part of the solution. My guest was Mr. Victor Imbai, a scientist in horticultural sector, and I've been your pastor, a scientist in greatness.
Thank you very much. Amen.
May God bless you, Mr. Director. Please give us the advert about the Kitwe before we go to the news. May God bless this nation.
Amen.
Join us on the 9th of October 2020
for the National Matters Conference in Kitwe. Venue: Living Water Global Church in Wosakile, opposite Wosakile Police Station. Time: 08 hours to 17 hours. Theme: Unlocking Zambia's potential through raising a generation of generational thinkers. Charges: 510 kwacha, lunch inclusive. Speakers will be Dr. Collins Kachaka.
If you have a 3 liters per second, then we say in science that you qualify to get involved in fish farming because you have adequate water.
Dr. Mushalika.
Don't overlisten to people who are happy to see you poor. They don't mean any good for us. There are no people who are developed by others. All people develop themselves.
Dr. Prosper Sievu, Engineer Bernard Chuala.
You are welcome so that we can create a critical mass of participants in the avocado industry. 1 hectare in 12 months will give you no less than 1 million kwacha. Hello?
Mr. Himbai.
You planted a deep-rooted plant into a shallow-rooted, so where is it getting the nutrients? Nowhere. So that plant, it will not give you the potency. You have failed at land preparation.
Mr. Salanda.
All of them lay eggs. You can use them for eggs and also for meat. They lay at least in a year a minimum of, to the lowest, a minimum of 100 chickens each.
All the dyes, all the paints, all the lubricants, they come from a plant called castor. 34% of our medicinal elements, they come from a castor root.
Not forgetting your host, Pastor Victoria and Moses Chidova.
Mwe bantu mwishitisha land. Mwe bantu mwishitisha land. Nami papati. It is unthinkable.
Take note, limited numbers due to COVID-19 restrictions. Make your payments through Airtel Mobile Money on 0979 753010 or on MTN Mobile Money on 0962 382535 or 0962 965883.
Really been impacting on so many levels.
This was really powerful, and I'm glad I didn't miss this one.
This conference has been wonderful in the sense that the knowledge that we've acquired within a day is so much overwhelming.
Should this conference come to Western Province, I urge them all to come en masse.
I didn't know that there's potential in me and wealth was lying right where I was.
The way to go right now is agriculture.
The knowledge that we have gathered out of this meeting is immeasurable.
Hurry, don't miss this life-changing conference.